You're going to suffer today, whether you want it or not. You are avoiding the work because it hurt. The hard conversation, the exam prep, the financial planning. You think you're saving yourself pain. But you're not avoiding suffering. You are compounding it. Every day you dodge the work, the price go up, and eventually you will pay it all at once and with interest. By the end of this video, you will have the Asymmetric Pain Protocol. You will learn to stop trading your long-term ambition for the cheap illusion of short-term comfort. You will build a system that makes the hard work feel like the obvious choice because you will finally see what avoiding it will actually cost. I spent years avoiding the hard stuff and calling it strategy. I would see the difficult tasks, the one that actually matter, and find a way to pull it off. Not forever, just for now. I will convince myself I was being smart about my energy, prioritizing, waiting for the right moment. But the right moment never came, and the tasks I avoid didn't disappear. They grew. They compound. What would have been a 30-minute conversation became a 6-month problem. What would have been an afternoon of prep work became a crisis I had to solve at the worst possible time. I kept paying for my avoidance, just later at a much higher price. The first time I really understood this was in the Army. When I was a captain and director of transportation, I managed over hundreds of tactical convoys. Before we ever rolled outside the wire, we ran pre-combat checks in a Motorpool. These checks were miserable. Crawling under heavy vehicles in the dirt, checking fluid level, inspecting tire treads, torquing lug nuts. The soldier hated it. And honestly, I hated it too. But I enforced the standard anyways, because I understood the math. A broken axle in a Motorpool is an annoyance. A broken axle in an ambush zone is a catastrophe. The pain of discipline in a safe environment was always cheaper than the pain of failure in a hostile one. Always. And later at Raytheon, managing over $45 million in material sales, I watched the same math play out in corporate America. The buyers would skip boring compliance checks during contracting, time-consuming paperwork, administrative friction, small pain they didn't want to deal with. And every time, that small avoid pain turned into blown budgets, failed negotiation, and halted production line. Massive, expensive pain because they didn't want to deal with a cheap version up front. And that's when I realized, pain is a constant. You don't get to avoid it. You only get to choose when you pay it and how much interest you're willing to accumulate. And that's what I teach now. How to choose the cheap pain on purpose. We're going to completely rewire your relationship with hard work. And here's the 3-step Asymmetric Pain Protocol. Step 1, the Regret Audit. The reason you're stuck right now is a math problem. In your head, the pain of doing the work feels massive, and the pain of skipping it feels like zero. It feels like nothing will happen if you put it off another day. That's a critical intelligent failure because the cost of avoidance isn't zero. It compounds every single day. You can't just see it yet. Here's the science. Human beings are terrible at accessing long-term risks. We are hardwired to prioritize immediate comfort. Your brain look at that 30-minute study session, that awkward email, that workout, and it registers as an immediate threat to your energy. It tells you to stop, scroll instead, to deal with tomorrow. To override the wiring, you need to make the future pain feel real right now. You have to force yourself to see what avoidance actually costs. Here's a tactic. Run the regret audit. Think about one thing you are actively procrastinating right now. You know exactly what it is. Maybe it's studying for an exam. building a resume, have a hard conversation, getting your finance in order, starting that project you've been talking about for months. You are avoiding it because the process feels painful. Fair enough. Now, I want you to do something uncomfortable. Grab a pen, write down the absolute worst case scenario 5 years from now if you keep avoiding this exact task. Don't be vague. Be brutal. Be specific. If you dodge the exam prep, you fail. If you fail, you lose the opportunity. If you lose the opportunity, you are stuck, watching your peers build lives while you're still in the same place, doing the same thing and wondering what happened. Put a real, tangible price tag on the cost of your avoidance. The action. Write that scenario down. Put it somewhere you see it every day. Your monitor, your mirror, your phone wallpaper. Make yourself confront the truth. You are not avoiding pain. You are choosing which pain you get. 30 minutes of discomfort today or 5 years of regret. When you clearly see the horrible interest rate of your avoidance, the immediate pain of doing the work suddenly feel incredibly cheap. Buy the cheap pain every time. Step 2. Micro-dosing the friction. Here's why you freeze when you look at that big task. The friction is too high. You are staring at the entire mountain, and your brain panics. It registers the full scope of the work as a massive threat, and it shuts you down. That's not laziness. That's your amygdala doing its job, protecting you from what it perceives as overwhelming. So stop staring at the mountain. Here's the insight. Procrastination isn't a time management problem. It is an emotional regulation problem. You are not avoiding the task because you don't have time. You are avoiding the feeling associated with the task. Boredom, frustration, fear of failure, fear of not being good enough. When you try to force yourself into 3 hours of grueling work, those feelings spike so hard that your brain hit the emergency brake. You freeze. You scroll instead. You tell yourself, tomorrow. And here's how to fix it. We're going to lower the barrier so dramatically that your brain doesn't even register it as a threat. The tactic, the 5-minute initiation rule. You commit to the dreaded task for exactly 5 minutes. 300 seconds, that's it. Set a literal timer. Open the laptop. Type the first sentence. Organize one folder. Read for one page. Send one email. If the timer goes off and you want to quit, you have my full permission to walk away. You did the drill. But here's what actually happens. You won't quit. The hardest part of any task is starting. It's breaching that initial wall of friction. Physics tell us an object in motion stays in motion. Once you get your hand on the work, once you actually are in it, the anxiety evaporates. The task that felt impossible 2 minutes ago suddenly feels manageable. The fear was never about the work itself. It was about the idea of the work. 5 minutes break the seal. 5 minutes prove the fear was a lie. The goal is never completion. The goal is initiation. Take the tiny dose of pain. Break the seal. Let momentum do the rest. Step 3. The automated strike. This is where we remove your feeling from the equation entirely. Because here's the truth. Your brain is a master negotiator. If you give it even 3-second window to debate whatever you should do, the hard thing, it will win. It will convince you that you're tired, that you deserve a break, that tomorrow is better. You cannot out-argue your own brain. You have to out-execute it. The concept, standard operating procedures. In the military, when it's time to execute, you don't think. You don't assess how you feel about it. You follow the SOP. You strike. Amateurs rely on feelings to dictate actions. Professionals rely on procedures. And here's a real example. You know you need to wake up at 5 a.m. to work on your side project before your actual job starts? The alarm goes off. It's dark, it's cold, and your bed is warm. If you lie there and think about how tired you are, you have already lost the morning. Your brain will negotiate you right back to sleep. It will give you 10 perfectly logical reasons to stay in bed. You need a behavioral trigger that bypasses the negotiation entirely. The tactic, the 3, 2, 1 automated strike. The absolute millisecond you recognize you are hesitating about anything, you begin a cold countdown. 3, 2, 1. At 1, your body moves before your brain has time to process an argument, before it can talk you out of it. Throw the cover off, stand up, and walk out of the room. Don't think, just move. And here's how to lock this in. Assign your hard work a specific time block on your calendar. Not, I will do it sometime in the morning. A grid coordinate, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Non-negotiable. When the clock hit that time, the countdown began. 3, 2, 1, strike. You don't wonder when you do the work. You don't wait until you feel like it. You execute at the assigned time because that's the standard. The deeper shift. Over time, this builds identity. You stop being someone who debates whatever to do the hard thing. You become someone who simply does it, regardless of how you feel, regardless of the emotional weather. Make the pain of breaking your own protocol greater than the pain of doing the work. That's the flip. That's where discipline becomes automatic. I want you to be honest with yourself. What's that one goal you've been sacrificing because you kept avoiding the hard work attached to it? What's the thing you know you should be doing but keep putting it off because the process is uncomfortable? You have been thinking about it this entire video. And here's your weekly challenge. Today, run the regret audit on that task. Write down what happened in 5 years if you keep avoiding it. Make the cost of inaction real and visible. And tomorrow morning, you execute. You use the 3, 2, 1 automated strike. The alarm go off. 3, 2, 1. You move. You do the hard thing first before your brain have time to negotiate. Remember, 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. Break the seal. Take the cheap pain. Because here's the truth you already know. You are going to suffer either way. The work is painful, but regret is worse. Regret is the most expensive pain there is, and it compounds forever. Here's the question. The question was never, how do I avoid pain? The question is, which pain do I choose? Choose the one that built something. Choose the one that moved you forward. Choose the cheap pain today so that you don't have to pay catastrophic price tomorrow. I want to know who is choosing the right pain. Comment strike below if you're running the regret audit today and executing tomorrow. I want to see who's done negotiating with themselves. And if this reframes how you think about hard work, if you needed someone to tell you the real math, hit that like and subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. We are building a community of people who choose discipline over regret every time. And your support helped this reach someone else who's been compounding avoidance without realizing the cost. And there are a lot of us out there. So, remember, choose the cheap pain, execute the strike. Force strong and thrive on, my friends.